Hello, Pauper fans. This is Mathonical, and you're joining me for round 2 of the 7th challenge run. This opening hand is perfectly reasonable. It's going to be a little slow out of the start since we've got a step into Boros Garrison, but we've got plenty of removal, Seeker, and Glinthawk, so Glinthawk's offline right now, but it'll turn any of our artifacts that we draw later into good engines. So we're going to go ahead and keep this. It's reasonable. Going to start on the step, of course. Drawing the Great Furnace, that basically makes me want to cycle this. We only need the one white currently, and I'd rather dig to more action later on. Getting our Seeker lightning bolted is a little unfortunate, but we should be fine. Seems like we're going to be playing the Boros Mirror, although I'm pretty sure we're going to be playing something that's a little different than what he has. We could have dropped the Glinthawk there and then bounced the Great Furnace, but in the Boros matchup, it is all about card advantage, and since we're not really in a position to start winning right away, I'm not in any hurry to start just dropping cards down. I'm dropping one here simply because we need to play a card, and being able to bounce one of the Great Furnaces and replay it means we get to cast Searing Blaze. Keeps him farther away from flashing back the Battle Screech. He'd need to play 2 creatures, but he ended up only playing 1. So everything worked as planned there. Here we drew very well and drew a couple of our redraw artifacts, so that turns our Glinthawk online. And you can see right now it's basically a battle of who can keep up their card draw. He's been drawing extra cards so far, but our hand is looking quite good since we're going to be able to redraw with our Prism and Vial, and we've got plenty of removal, so we're not too worried about any creatures coming down in the near future. Continuing to draw more redraw artifacts, that's fine. And continue to draw more removal. Basically, at this point, I'm already looking at his life total. I'm trying to find some opportunity where I can just burn him out of this game. I go ahead and cast one of the Galvanic Blasts there, simply because, yeah, we already basically have enough to win in hand, and I just wanted to test the waters to see if he had any of the Prismatic Strands, and it turns out he didn't. He also attacked with both his creatures, so I just started throwing them at his face, testing like, hey, do you have a Prismatic Strands? And it turns out he didn't, so already got the win. The beauty of being able to go Searing Blaze is you just get these very quick burn wins. We didn't attack once that entire game. 2 Searing Blazes plus 3 Galvanic Blasts and a Lightning Bolt. That is the beauty of this build. So, we're going to jump ourselves over to game 2. And taking a look at the sideboard. Seeker the Way is basically going to get burned out most of the time, so I take out a couple of those. I wanted to leave a couple in because being able to get one hit in with it can make the difference if it turns into a burn game. I did not bring in the Gorilla Shamans. It seemed like my opponent was a bit heavier on the cycling lands, so that generally means that he's probably going to be lighter on the artifact lands. I didn't really want to bring it in on that. I did bring the Prismatic Strands. It's basically a 2-for-1 against the removal. And I also took out a couple, like the 2 Journeys. Basically, the burn is going to be better. It's going to just do the removal anyways. The Journeys, there isn't really much I need to journey that I'm aware of, so I didn't bring that in here. And that's about it. So let's jump into it. Our opening hand, while not too exciting, is a perfectly reasonable keep. We're going to be able to very likely cycle away the secluded step. We got red, we have our whites, basically everything we want. This hand is a little susceptible to a Gorilla Shaman on our opponent's side, but at the same time, it's still reasonable to keep. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Prophetic Prism is exactly what we want to draw. It turns our core Skyfisher into the Mulldrifter we want. And drawing another one, that's perfectly fine. Here it's basically looking like my opponent might be a little light on red mana. So that is pretty good, and because it looks like they're pretty light on white mana, I'm going to go ahead and get the Seeker out there, because if I can get a hit in with this after burning out a creature, that would be very advantageous for us. And it looks like we're going to have the opportunity to do so. So we just have to make sure we've got Metalcraft online so we can turn on our Galvanic Blast to go after the Skyfisher. I'm going to throw the attack in there just because it's already been pumped up, and I ended up changing my mind partway through that turn. I decided I'd be better just to get the core Skyfisher online. Why? Because if he doesn't have red mana, then he's not going to be able to attack into the Skyfisher, and I can remake this attack the next turn with I'll Galvanic Blast at instant speed to try and get tricky in combat. I ended up just going like this. I'm basically testing the waters to see if he's going to like double block the Seeker. He ended up not doing that, so I just bolt his Seeker. So possibly our opponent's on a more similar list to us than we thought. Haven't seen any Searing Blazes yet. That's the tech I advocate for currently. He's getting his draw on. That's how Boros rolls, and getting in for a little bit of damage. Not too worried about that, since we're going to be able to swing in for a lot of damage. And in my opinion, it was a little quick for him to be attacking there. I realized, actually I'm going to quickly pause, on the previous turn we did have lethal. We had him down to 6, and I realized while it was in the middle of combat, I was doing the count. If I Galvanic Blast his face, it also pumps the Seeker, that's 5 damage, he'd have 1 left. I realized if I'd played the untapped land before combat and not the tapped land, we could have Galvanic Blasted his face and then cast Prismatic Strands, naming something that's not white, and that would pump the Seeker again, getting an exactly lethal damage. So a little bit of a misplay there, but given the strength of our hand, hopefully it won't come back to bite us. And we're going to jump back into this. Our opponent does have more cards in hand currently, but with Galvanic Blast, basically any burn spell off the top is going to win this for us. And here we're just going to try and swing in, but it looks like he's representing that he's going to survive, and sure enough he's going to start cracking his vials to prevent us from attacking. That's reasonable. Radiant Fountain means he's getting a little farther away from us just being able to burn him out. And Palace Sentinels, alright. The game is now switching into a bit more of an attrition match. Trying to Lightning Bolt our Skyfisher, we're going to say no to that with our Prismatic Strands, but he's going to go ahead and cast another burn spell to make sure he gets rid of it. That's perfectly reasonable, and that's to be expected. Drawing the Searing Blaze here means we can get in with our killing their guys, all of the guys, and then swing in with our Seeker, so that way we can be the Monarch and try and draw that last burn spell we need to close out this game. He has a Lightning Bolt, so now we have no creatures left. We're going to have to find some means of winning this game. Fragment Spectre will give us a redraw, and now at least we can put 2 creatures on the battlefield, and hopefully that would be good enough. Electrickery. Ooh, I forgot about bringing that I brought it in. Because I saw the Battle Screech in the previous game, I did bring in an Electrickery just to combat that. And this is not the burn spell we want to win the game. But now we drew the Lightning Bolt finally, so thankfully we did win this one. A little bit of misplay, but I wasn't really looking to use the Prismatic Strands as a +1/+1 effect. That's something I'm going to have to try and remember in the future when playing this deck, that it does mean it can cause damage when you've got a Seeker Relay on the battlefield. Alright, so we're 1-1 in the tournament so far, and come and see how we do in the rest of it in round 3.